What if I told you that right where you are, in your job, your family, your community, you're already supposed to be leading? What if leadership isn't about titles, corner offices, or how many people report to you? Dr. Myles Munroe discovered something that completely flipped the leadership world upside down. He found out that every single person, including you, was born to lead. Stay with me, because this changes everything. Hey amazing people, welcome back to the channel. I'm your name, and today we're diving into one of Dr. Myles Munroe's most revolutionary teachings. That leadership isn't a position you achieve, it's a nature you activate. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Leadership? Me? I can barely get my kids to listen to me. Or maybe, I'm not the CEO type. I just want to do my job and go home. But Dr. Monroe would look at you and say, you're not understanding what leadership really is. And by the end of this video, you're going to see yourself and your calling in a completely new light. Here's the lie that's been keeping millions of people in mediocrity. We think leadership is about position, power, and being in charge. We think you become a leader when someone gives you a title, a corner office, and people to boss around. Friends, that's not leadership. That's management at best, dictatorship at worst. Dr. Monroe discovered something that rocked his world. Leadership has nothing to do with position and everything to do with influence. He said, leadership is the capacity to influence others through inspiration motivated by passion, generated by vision, produced by conviction, ignited by purpose. Think about the people who've had the biggest impact on your life. Was it always your boss? Your president? The person with the biggest title? Or was it that teacher who believed in you when no one else did? That friend who encouraged you to chase your dreams? That parent who modeled integrity even when it was hard? Those people were leading you not because of their position, but because of their influence. They changed your life not through authority, but through authenticity. And here's what Dr. Monroe realized. If you can influence one person, you are a leader. If you can inspire one soul, change one mind, encourage one heart, congratulations, you're already in leadership. Now, here's where it gets beautiful. Dr. Monroe showed us that kingdom leadership is completely opposite to worldly leadership. The world says, leadership is about being served. Get to the top so people will serve you. But Jesus turned that upside down. He said, whoever wants to be great among you must be your servant. Picture this. The night before Jesus is crucified, the most important night in human history, what does he do? He gets on his knees and washes his disciples' feet. The Son of God, doing the job of the lowest servant in the house. The disciples were confused. Peter actually tried to stop him. They thought, leaders don't wash feet, servants wash feet. But Jesus was showing them a completely different model. Kingdom leadership leads by serving, influences by inspiring, and rules by raising others up. Dr. Monroe called this servant leadership, and he said it's the most powerful force on earth because it creates more leaders instead of more followers. Think about it this way. A worldly leader says, follow me because I'm above you. A kingdom leader says, follow me because I'm for you. One creates dependency, the other creates development. One builds an empire around themselves, the other builds an empire in others. And here's the revolutionary part. You don't need permission to serve. You don't need a title to add value. You don't need an office to influence. You can start leading right where you are, right now, by simply asking, how can I serve? How can I add value? How can I make someone else's life better? Dr. Monroe taught us that kingdom leadership develops in 5 levels, and every single person can work through these levels, regardless of their job title or position. Level 1, personal leadership. This is where it all starts, leading yourself. Can you discipline yourself? Can you keep commitments to yourself? Can you manage your time, your emotions, your habits? You can't lead others until you can lead yourself. Level 2, relational leadership. Now you're influencing your circle, your family, your friends, your coworkers. You're not their boss, but they look to you for wisdom, encouragement, direction. This is where most real leadership actually happens. Level 3, functional leadership. You're leading in your area of strength. Maybe you're the go-to person for solving problems, organizing events, or training new people. Your influence is growing because your competence is showing. Level 4, positional leadership. Now you might get a title, a role, some formal authority. But here's the key: if you've developed through the first 3 levels, the position is just confirming what was already true. You were already leading before you got the title. Level 5, legacy leadership. This is where you're developing other leaders. You're not just accomplishing tasks, you're reproducing yourself in others. You're raising up people who will go further than you ever dreamed. And here's what blew Dr. Monroe's mind. Jesus operated at level 5 his entire ministry. He wasn't trying to build a following, he was trying to build leaders. That's why Christianity didn't die when he left Earth. He had developed 12 leaders who developed more leaders who developed more leaders. And here we are, 2,000 years later, still being influenced by his leadership development strategy. Now, how do you activate the leadership DNA that God placed inside you? Dr. Monroe gave us some practical keys that anyone can apply starting today. Key number 1. Stop waiting for someone to make you a leader. Start leading where you are. Volunteer for the project nobody wants. Help the new person learn the ropes. Be the encourager in your workplace. Leadership is about taking initiative, not waiting for invitation. Key number 2. Develop a vision bigger than yourself. Leaders see what others don't see. They see solutions where others see problems, possibilities where others see obstacles. What breaks your heart about your world? What could be better? That burden might be your assignment. Key number 3. Invest in people, not just projects. Kingdom leaders are people developers. Who in your sphere needs encouragement? Who needs mentoring? Who needs someone to believe in them? Your leadership is measured not by what you accomplish, but by who you develop. Key number 4. Lead by example, not just by instruction. Dr. Monroe said, "Your life is your message. People will follow what you do long before they follow what you say." Want to lead others to integrity? Be a person of integrity. Want to inspire excellence? Pursue excellence in everything you do. And key number 5, take responsibility for outcomes. This is huge. Followers make excuses. Leaders take responsibility. When something goes wrong in your sphere of influence, your first question shouldn't be, "Who messed up?" It should be, "How can I fix this?" That mindset shift alone will separate you from 90 of people. Let me tell you about Marcus. He was a custodian at a large company. Not exactly what you'd call a leadership position. Marcus felt invisible, unimportant, like he was just putting in time until retirement. Then Marcus heard Dr. Monroe teach about servant leadership and something clicked. He realized he had been thinking about leadership all wrong. Marcus started small. He began greeting every employee by name. He left encouraging notes for people having tough days. When new employees started, Marcus took it upon himself to show them around, make them feel welcome. Pretty soon, people started coming to Marcus with problems, asking for advice. Managers noticed that teams worked better in areas where Marcus served. The company culture began shifting in the building sections where Marcus worked. Within 2 years, the company created a new position, Director of Workplace Culture. And guess who they offered it to? Marcus. Not because of his resume or his education, but because he had demonstrated leadership through service. Today, Marcus travels around the country teaching companies about servant leadership and workplace culture. He went from feeling invisible to influencing thousands, not because he got a title, but because he activated the leadership DNA that was inside him all along. That's kingdom leadership in action. That's what happens when you stop waiting for permission and start serving with purpose. So let's make this practical for your life right now. I want you to identify 3 areas where you can start leading through serving. First, in your home. How can you serve your family better? Maybe it's taking initiative on household responsibilities. Maybe it's being the encourager when everyone's stressed. Maybe it's planning activities that bring everyone together. Second, in your workplace, how can you add value beyond your job description? Maybe it's mentoring a coworker. Maybe it's solving a problem everyone else complains about. Maybe it's being the positive voice in meetings. Third, in your community, how can you influence your neighborhood, your church, your circle for the better? Maybe it's organizing something helpful. Maybe it's volunteering for a cause you care about. Maybe it's simply being the person who checks on elderly neighbors. Here's your assignment this week. Pick one of those 3 areas and do one specific act of servant leadership. Don't announce it. Don't wait for recognition. Just serve with excellence and watch how God begins to expand your influence. Remember Dr. Monroe's words, "True leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in your charge." If this message is stirring up the leader inside you, I need you to hit that like button and tell me in the comments. What's one area where you're ready to start leading through serving? What's one way you can add value to someone's life this week? And listen, if you're hungry for more kingdom principles that will transform how you see yourself and your calling, make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell. We're building a community of servant leaders who are done playing small and ready to influence their world for God's kingdom. I'm dropping life-changing content every week because I believe it's time for God's people to step into the leadership roles He's been preparing us for. Remember this truth. You don't need a title to have influence. You don't need a position to make a difference. You don't need permission to serve. God didn't create you to be a follower your whole life. He created you to lead in your sphere, to influence your generation, to serve your way into significance. The world is waiting for the leader inside you. So stop hiding, stop waiting, and start serving your way into the influence God designed you to have. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, lead well, serve greatly, and remember, you're not just anyone. You're someone God chose to make a difference. God bless you.